The post-apocalyptic genre keeps drawing us in with its mix of suspense, endless what-ifs, and powerful stories of human resilience. Whether doomsday comes from fire, water, or something lurking beneath us, the possibilities are endless, even if most creators tend to play it safe. Elevation, which is directed by George Nolfi, stars Anthony Mackie, Maddie Hassan, Morena Baccarin, and Danny Boy Jr. with the aim to take this genre in a fresh direction. Set on a mountaintop with monsters on the loose, the film is practically ebbing with high-stakes thrills and intense monster hunting moments. Backed by a strong cast and some big ideas, in certain ways, Elevation feels like a case of art imitating life, depicting a near-future America that's both bleak and packed with suspense. The story revolves around mysterious murder bugs that have wiped out nearly everyone living below 8,000 feet. Here we see Anthony Mackie as a father who has no choice but to risk the dangerous descent to lower ground to get essential medical supplies for his son. Elevation leans more into action than horror, delivering a tight post-apocalyptic survival story that, while not breaking new ground, makes up for it with sharp pacing and solid execution. But for me, it's these murder bugs called the Reapers that stand out in the film. So what's that all really about? Without wasting another moment, let's find out. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means an awful lot. Thank you, and let's begin. What is Elevation about? As the screen reads, the film begins 3 years later, and even though the Rocky Mountains in Colorado are still as breathtaking as ever, things have changed. When a young boy, Hunter, crosses the safety boundary to see if anyone else is out there beyond his small community, he quickly learns the real dangers lurking below. Down at lower altitudes, the mountains have become the hunting grounds for massive tank-like creatures called Reapers. These fast, seemingly indestructible monsters are halfway between dinosaurs and insects, and make terrifying sounds almost like the creatures in Alien and Predator. 3 years ago, these Reapers emerged from the ground, wiping out 95% of the population. Oddly, these deadly monsters seem to leave anyone above 8,000 feet alone, making the high-altitude communities some of the last safe havens. Even if they're relatively safe, Hunter is lonely and unhappy in Lost Gulch Refuge, which is a remote mountain town with around 200 residents but no other kids. We find out that he had lost his mom too, who did not make it back from a risky trip after their cranky neighbor Nina had convinced her to join in an attempt to reach a lab in Boulder. Nina is a scientist with a pretty grim outlook and hoped to find a way to wipe out the Reapers for good. But when that journey ended badly, Hunter's father, Will, never forgave Nina for taking his wife into that doomed mission. Life in Lost Gulch Refuge feels like a return to the old frontier days, with candlelight after dark, self-sustaining routines, and a community isolated from the world below. Here, Will and Hunter have managed to carve out a relatively peaceful life, with Hunter's breathing issues constantly threaten their fragile stability. Will is constantly worried for his son, especially now that they have just used the last filter for the oxygen machine that keeps Hunter safe during his attacks. Desperate to get the medical supplies his son needs, Will decides to make the dangerous trip below the safety line to Boulder, with Nina joining him with the determination to find a way to destroy the Reapers. While they leave, Katie, Will's close family friend, refuses to let him go without her and is willing to risk it all for them. Together, the trio venture into the unknown, where the true fight for survival begin. From here, Elevation sort of takes on the feel of a video game side quest, with Will, Nina, and Katie scavenging their way through various locations to gather supplies, while barely surviving their heart-pounding run-ins with the Reapers. The setup is not exactly unexpected, as Will assures them that the journey to get Hunter's medicine will be relatively safe and worthwhile, but we all know these quests are never that easy. Now, Nina, the only person who has ever fought the Reapers and survived, the sole reason that motivated her to make this trio was her belief that she can find the resources to make a magic bullet to kill the Reapers once and for all. Katie, on the other hand, has a clear fondness for Will and a dislike for Nina that rivals his own. As for the Reapers, their design feels familiar, like a remix of the alien threats we've seen before. I'm talking about the mimics in Edge of Tomorrow, the White Spikes in the Tomorrow War, and the Deviants in Eternals, but just with a different style. Like Nina later describes them, they're giant murder bugs hatched from the ground, which is how they have managed to wipe out most life below 8,000 feet. Anyways, as soon as the trio crosses below the safe altitude, what Katie calls Earth's new apex predators are quick to pick up in their scent. Their first close call comes on a ski lift that they managed to get working just in time to escape. Although Will had planned a route to minimize their exposure, after taking the group through abandoned mine tunnels, they soon find out that the Reapers have made their way underground too. When they find a way to evade the Reapers from detecting them by holding their breath, not everyone makes it to the ruins of Boulder. Moments before they can find a way out of the tunnel, Katie walks in on a Reaper who wastes no time to pierce through her body and drag her towards the dark end. But there's still a glimmer of hope for humanity by the end, as Nina finally finds a way to kill these murder bugs after they restock on Hunter's medical supply. How did Nina manage to kill the Reapers? So before the apocalypse, Nina was a scientist working in a lab in Boulder, Colorado, and throughout most of the film, Will and Katie assume that Nina's willingness to take extreme risks is because she has nothing to lose. But one of the film's biggest twists reveals that Nina did, in fact, have a family, and she lost them when the Reapers first appeared to mow down human civilization. Exactly what happened is left vague, but we do know that Nina deeply regrets being at work instead of with them when they died. By the time we meet her in Elevation, she has channeled that pain into a fierce anger and a drive for revenge against the Reapers, which is why she makes it her mission to return to that lab, hoping to create a special chemical that can charge bullets with an electric current strong enough to take down the Reapers. Early on, she salvages a piece of Reaper armor to experiment on, but her initial attempts don't go well. After several failed tries, she finally decides to add cobalt to the mix and dips the bullets in them. Fortunately, it works, giving her just the firepower she needs to kill the first Reaper that attacks her. Now, Nina's breakthrough with cobalt is also rooted in her past. She tells Will that ironically on the very day the Reapers first appeared, she had been working with her company to use cobalt to boost battery power. Remembering this, she realized that adding cobalt might be the key to creating the charge needed to destroy the Reapers. Sure enough, her bullets trigger a powerful reaction, causing multiple Reapers to self-implode on impact. During the moment, the Horde had Will cornered in the forest. With this method proving effective on multiple creatures, Nina returns to their community feeling victorious, even raising a pirate flag to celebrate their win. The pirate flag was a signal to other human communities that they have found a way to kill a Reaper. Earlier in the film, it is revealed that these scattered communities had been staying in touch via radio, though they had stopped in order to conserve power, but when the flag is raised, it reignites hope, and the radios come back to life as communities reconnect. At the end of the film, a team armed with cobalt-coated bullets is on its way, ready to join the fight against the Reapers and take their first real stand. For the first time in years, humans finally have a way to fight back against the Reapers, and they actually have the upper hand. Nina's method worked remarkably as well. Just one well-placed shot was now enough to bring down these massive monsters. What is the meaning behind Elevation's mid-credit scene? What is really fascinating about Elevation is that the story doesn't wrap up neatly with humanity's new advantage over the Reapers. In a mid-credit scene, meteors are seen falling to Earth, which is a clear hint that the fight might be far from over. This quick shot leaves room for different interpretations, which could mean more Reapers are on the way, potentially more advanced or even capable of attacking at higher altitudes. If that is the case, Will and his group would have to step up either by developing new weapons or enhancing their current arsenal to meet his next challenge.